This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome to the Elevate Construction Podcast, where we tell it like it is. Real experience, real projects, real results. My name is Jason Schroeder, and today in this Build a Little Better podcast, I'm going to tell you that the building will talk to you. So if you are sitting down, standing up, driving, or wherever you might be, if you're paying attention, that might sound a little bit weird. So hold on, give me a minute, okay? The building will talk to you. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it intuition. You can call it metaphysics. You can call it inspiration from God. You can call it nature. You can call it whatever you want. Telekinesis. I don't care what it is. But the building will talk to you. And it happens over and over and over to me in my life. I think it happens to thinking types and feeling types. I don't think that it's some special characteristic of mine. I've constantly had superintendents tell me that this is the case. Now, let me start out with this concept. Every general, and I call them the generals, like the general superintendents or the field directors or the project executives, like these master builders that you want to emulate that just are super sharp. They know what they're doing. It's amazing. All of them, inevitably on any project, has shown me their perch. What I mean is the spot that they go to overlook the project and kind of talk to the building. I remember in a new stadium addition and remodel, a really respected superintendent showing me that the spot above the work where he would stand daily to observe the project, the flow, the feeling, the energy, everything. And then I remember on my project, I used to climb the crane. Another project was an adjacent building where they could overlook the building. Every project superintendent that's these generals, these master builders usually have a perch, a place, and it can even be the porch on your trailers. In fact, I have this kind of majestic picture kind of cataloged in my mind of this really respected general superintendent that used to lean on the handrail on the porch, kind of with his feet behind him a little bit, just staring at the building, looking for flow. And I wish I had taken a picture of that because that would be beautiful as like a YouTube banner or something like that. But anyway, super majestic. But like every project superintendent has that spot, that location where you can go quiet, turn off your phone, no chaos, and just talk to the building and hear what you need to hear, see what you need to see, feel what you need to feel. And inevitably it works out. So let me tell you just a couple of quick stories in case you think I'm weird. I'm going to get to this pretty quickly before you turn this off. So I'll give you one that was really impactful for me, actually. I came in one day and I just had let me give you the context. We were doing brick on the facade. It was cladding on this research laboratory, and we had scaffolding. We probably had all the scaffolding there was in Tucson. I mean, this whole building had heavy duty frame scaffolding all the way around it and on the insets and everywhere. I mean, it was super complex. We had somebody full-time doing nothing but inspecting it and making sure that it was clean. So huge thing, huge deal. I came in that morning and I had a feeling that somebody was going to fall. Now, in case you're perked here, I think you can probably guess that it was a good ending, so don't freak out too much. But I just knew somebody was going to fall. Like the building told me that. I could feel that. And so in the huddle, like I usually do, I made a goof of myself and I was like, guys, I got a feeling today. Somebody's going to fall from that scaffolding. As soon as I say that, then they're like, oh, you jinxed us. Like, oh, you're such a bad person. Like, why would you say that? I'm like, guys, hey, I know, sounds weird. I love you. I got this feeling. Hey, my craft guys, please, I need you walking that scaffold for any problems with any of the planking, the bricky. I want you out there doing that. Safety guys, first thing in this morning, I don't want anybody out there until we inspect it. Precaution. Okay. So we're going through this, and now the whole workforce is like freaked out on me because I said this. And some people are a little superstitious, but we go and do our work, right? I go out and do my walks. Everything's fine. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't know, whatever. So I go to my meetings at 10 o'clock, and I'm in the meeting, and I remember one of my favorite people of all time. My kids love him to this day. His name is Francisco. He runs in and he's like, Jason, somebody fell off the scaffolding. And I'm like, oh my God, I knew it. Like I should have done something more. Anyway, so I'm running out there, and it turns out, thank God, that this person had their fall protection on and only went down one level, and it caught him, and he was totally fine, totally non-issue. It was pretty much a near miss. And what I realized was, and after doing some investigation, there were planks below to the level that where he fell that were replaced that morning because of the additional precautions that we took and the inspections that we took. And we were amazed. So this person wasn't hurt, just fell down a couple feet, harness caught him. Would he not have been tied off that day? Would he not have, been as strict with the tie off? Obviously we know that the planks down below wouldn't have been there. So what would have happened with that? Could that have caused an injury? What would have happened if we weren't in tune? What would have happened if the building hadn't talked to us and told us what was going to happen? What would have happened if we hadn't taken that seriously? And that has happened over and over and over and over in my career and in the career of others. And sometimes it's weird, but I try to connect with somebody. I'm like, hey, does the building ever talk to you? And they're like, what? But then once you get down to it, they're like, yes, I have feelings. I have intuition. I have inspiration. I just know what's happening. I go out and just feel what the project's telling me. I reflect. You hear this different language. I use this language so that it really sticks with people and it resonates and kind of can be something fun that you remember. The building will talk to you. It's kind of something funny to say. But the honest truth is that is a concept that is real. And real builders, in my opinion, will be in tune with that if there's the capacity to do so. So I've had situations where after a placement, I felt like literally there's no logic, there's no subconscious, there's no inactive memory that triggered me. I'd never been to that location on the building, but I'm like, something's wrong. And so I walked down there. And I remember one time, a long time ago, I went down there and they had just stripped a column and there was like 2 or 3 inches of sawdust between the top of the column and the deck. Now, that makes me a poor field engineer at the time because I didn't QC it. I didn't see it. Like that's 1000% on me. But we were immediately able to go involve the right people, call the structural engineer, clear it out, grout it, get everything done, patch it up 100%, no risk. I don't know what would have happened, but I felt that. And I was drawn down there. I knew to go look at that. And that was like one of the first times it ever happened to me. It was amazing because I really felt like there's a way to stay connected. So, and it's not only with the building, but you can also sense the energy of your crews, your team, your foreman. And I remember the other day, and I'll just tell you, I was on a call with the scheduling team and I felt like I needed to mention anxiety and depression. And like, that's typically not something you talk about. We're a bunch of rough and tough guys. Who's going to want to talk about feelings? But I just, when it came to my turn, I was like, hey guys, I really feel impressed right now to talk about, anxiety and depression right now. I don't know who on this call might need it, if you need it at all, but I feel this, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. I've struggled with anxiety before. I've struggled with depression, from the time I was 18 to the time I was, 33. And it's a bad deal. And you have to speak up and you need to talk about it and you need to voice it and you need to reach out for help because that darkness will not just go away and everybody needs you. And there's no truth in the concept that people would be better without you or, you're not worth it or nobody wants you around. And, so if you feel like that, I'm asking you to please speak up and to say something and to be vocal about it. And I remember a couple of days later, somebody from that team came up and said, Jason, I'm so glad you brought that up. I've been struggling and I want to talk about it. And then we had a beautiful conversation for about an hour. And I just thought there's a way to be in tune. And it really doesn't matter if you believe in God or not, or nature or intuition or telekinesis. It doesn't matter what you believe in. It's there. Like it's there. It's a 100% fact. And I'm going to use my words that the building will talk to you. The situation will talk to you. All you have to do is be present and show up in that moment and be in tune. And I feel like that's what a natural leader, builder would do. And to put this in a little bit of context, when I watch war movies, and specifically thinking of We Were Soldiers, I'm sure there's things that might be wrong with that movie. But, back in the day, I watched that movie and it had an impact on me. And I remember, Mel Gibson in the role that he's playing, he's out there on the front lines with his men feeling the situation. And there's a scene in there where he can feel, even without a lot of data, can't even see that far, that we're about to be overrun. And he calls in a radio message, broken arrow, calls in air support. I imagine those like military leaders of history using their senses, using their feeling, their gut instinct, and that receiving that communication to know what to do and being in tune. And whether it's a perch or being on the front line or just doing a reflection walk in the afternoon or just taking that quiet time, the building will talk to you. And in fact, you can kind of make it fun. You know how architects they'll always use language like, well, the building really wants to be this, or it feels like this, or whatever. I usually kid with them. I'm like, yeah, you know what the building wants to be, but the building talks to me. So let's have a talk about this. So, and they usually giggle and it's kind of funny, but I really just think it's a concept that we should get out there and scale more and talk about. And so here would be my challenge. This is one of my shorter podcasts, so I don't have the full structure, the outline that I typically use, but here's a challenge for you. Let's do it for 5 days. For the next 5 days, go take a reflection walk by yourself. Have somebody in the trailer, tell them you're out there in case you have a heart attack or something, they can check on you, use the buddy system, but go take a walk and just be quiet, or go find a perch, or go climb the tower crane safely, call your safety director, or go on the adjacent building, make sure the parapet's high enough, or find somewhere where you can quiet your mind and reflect and observe and feel. And I do want to promise you, I don't know for a fact, but I promise you, like, you'll have an opportunity to start to get in connection, in tune with this, and be that instinctual builder. And when you go out on the job, you can feel the energy, you can sense the safety, you can sense the productivity, you can sense that there's a problem, and you can lead just like those military generals of old in just an amazing way. And so I hope this has been helpful. Reach out to me if you have any thoughts or want to provide feedback. Always message me on LinkedIn if you want to do an interview, if you want a podcast, or again, like I said before, if you want to provide feedback. But the vision would be that we're not only using our senses, meaning our eyes and our ears, but we're using our heart and our instinct and our intuition and our gut feeling a little bit, because there's a lot of science behind it, but it works. And I can't tell you how many times this has happened. It's happened too many times for me to count. And it's always made the difference. And how thankful was I that one day when somebody said somebody fell off the scaffolding, that I knew that being in tune with that and reacting had prevented somebody from possibly not going home to their families. And so that's why it's a big deal to me. So let's go make this happen. Let's be in tune and let's be remarkable and live a life of meeting, a life where we protect our people. And so until we meet again, I hope this is helpful, and on we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.